In this edition of Careers That Matter, I'm joined by Bridgitte Anderson, the President and CEO of the Greater Vancouver Board of Trade, a remarkable organization that has represented business in Vancouver for more than 100 years. It's a big responsibility, Bridgitte, that you've got. What does your job entail? Because people go, okay, what does it mean to be the President and CEO of an organization that is so diverse and so much in the spotlight?
Well, it is a real honor to be able to lead this organization, and the first woman to do so in 137 years. And so what does my job entail? We represent over 5,000 members from a very broad diversity of size of organizations, of different industries and sectors. And so we are a voice of the business community in Greater Vancouver. And what that means, a lot of the work that we do is we advocate for public policy that helps support businesses, individuals, and families. So better public policy. But the other things that we do is we connect members and non-members. We do that through events and through different kinds of member experiences. We also, a subsidiary is the World Trade Center Vancouver, where we help small and medium businesses develop export plans so they can get their goods to market overseas. It is an organization that does an awful lot, but really it's connecting, educating, informing members, and being a voice for businesses as well.
So with so many different and in some ways disparate elements in what you're doing, what does an average day look like for you?
Well, let's just say there is not an average day. You know, a lot of what I do is I engage with members. So we host events, and we host a number of events, and they can be from 150 people to 750 people. And so that means engaging with members, but also having an opportunity to interview the speaker on the stage. And so I will make sure that I am up to speed on whether it's energy policy or forestry policy or healthcare policy. A lot of what I do is speaking to government at all three levels. And so that also ensures that I have to have a good understanding of public policy at the local, provincial, and federal level. And also I do a lot of media interviews. So it is a very high profile, public kind of position. And thankfully one that I've had a fair bit of experience in, and I love a lot.
So your job has this outward facing element, but also you are the president and CEO, so you've got an inward facing responsibility as well. How many different departments do you have that you are having to, coordinate?
Well, first of all, I think that I'm spoiled because I do have the best team in the region. And I say that with all sincerity. I really am very fortunate to be able to work with some of the smartest people I've ever known. And so we have about 5 departments across the organization. And so one of them is the World Trade Center. Another one is our policy and communications advocacy group, our membership group, our events group, and of course, finance and administration. It really is, it's a small but mighty team, and it is really remarkable what they achieve. And I'm just really grateful to be able to lead them in their endeavors.
But on top of that, you've got HR, and you also obviously have to have member services and marketing, and
it all falls underneath that umbrella. But everybody wears multiple hats. It's the same as any kind of small or medium organization. We all do lots of different things, and thankfully I'm the person who gets to lead the organization that loves to roll their sleeves up. Maybe my team doesn't love it so much, but I love to get in there, and I'm happy to make calls and to write a news release once in a while when they'll let me do that, and give event ideas. And I really love being part of the team and helping and support them in any way I can.
It's the kind of job that you can't say, I think I'm going to go to university with my eye on being the president and CEO of a business organization in a major city in Canada. So where did you go when you graduated from high school? What was your first step? What was your objective in life?
Well, when I was, a long time ago, when I was in junior high and high school, I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to tell stories. I wanted to chase the truth and be really connected. And so that's what I did. I went to BCIT and I did a broadcast journalism diploma. I started in radio, which was still, and I think still is, really my first love. But I moved over to television after a short period of time, and I had a really fortunate career. So I was a journalist for 20 years and spanned radio, television. I was a reporter. I was a news anchor. I worked in politics. I worked in business news, and I worked in local news here in Vancouver for a number of years. And so for me, that gave me the foundation around communication and also trying to get at truth and information and accuracy. And then I went from there and I worked for government. I worked for former Premier Gordon Campbell, and I was his press secretary during a remarkable time in our province, the 2010 Olympic Games, and also an election in 2009. And from there, I went into consulting. And so a lot of the businesses that I worked with are members of the Board of Trade. And I learned, what their business priorities are. I ended up managing the team, the office that I worked for. And that gave me sort of that management experience. So I look at where I am now, and it was a circuitous route, there's no question. But all of what I do are elements of the things that I did before in my career.
So what would you say would be the personality trait that you possess that opened you up to these different kinds of opportunities?
Curiosity and a passion for lifelong learning. I have been fortunate that I have been given opportunities, and when given them, I put my hand up and say yes. Sometimes not even knowing what the heck I'm doing. And so for me, being able to dive in and to understand whether it was a client's business problem and trying to find solutions. I love strategy and trying to figure that out, and the combination of business strategy and communication strategy, because they're quite correlated, along with government relations strategy and public policy. That's sort of been the driver through my very different kind of career paths. And it certainly is what has brought me to where I am today.
Okay, what about bravery? And I asked that in the question in the sense of, okay, Bridgitte, yes, you've been a reporter for the last 20 years, but now I want you to take on the role of being communications director for the Premier of the province of British Columbia. You go, oh, okay, it's related field. But it's not the same. And now you're putting yourself out there differently, and you're taking a chance because you take that step, you put your reputation on the line. How much does bravery factor in?
Bravery or naivety? I'm not sure which one it is.
The two could be the same at times, but real courage is actually being fully aware of what the risks are and doing it anyway.
Well, I think there's a couple of things. I have been surrounded by people who haven't let me fail, and that really does matter a lot. I've had a lot of mentors and a lot of coaches and a lot of support. But I also believe that when you fail, there are great lessons in that. So
Ouch.
and I have failed, like everybody, I have failed. But I do have a sense of optimism and sense of positivity and a little bit of faith that if something is offered to me, then there's a good chance I can probably do it with some good support of those around me.
Yeah. So if you were talking to a young person who is looking at you going, well, I want to be you in the future, what words of wisdom would you like to share with them?
I would say yes to opportunities, and to also have that commitment to lifelong learning. I kind of have a vision that it's, a tool belt, and all of the opportunities and experiences and training, because I have had, different professional development opportunities. It's all been things I've been putting in the tool belt. And so I would say those are really important pieces. Don't get stuck in thinking that one path is going to lead somewhere, because that's certainly not true these days. Open yourself to the opportunities that as many as you can. Surround yourself with good mentors and have faith in yourself.
Okay, last thing only because it came up, and I was thinking about a young First Nations fellow that I interviewed once, and he had gone through a program, and I said, what was the most important thing that you got out of taking this program? And he said, self-confidence. And he said, self-confidence is a bit like wildfire. Once you have it, you have no idea where it's going to take you. How did you develop the confidence to move forward and take on these different roles?
Oh, I might get a little choked up. It was my mom. My mom who has always had so much faith in me. And she was always the one to say, well, if you want to do this, you can absolutely do it. And so from a very early age, to have somebody believe in you, and I think that is so true for young people. If you have people believing in you, and whether it's a parent or a mentor or a sibling, whatever it is, that helps to build that self-confidence. And then they're building blocks. You have a good experience here, and then you feel a little bit better about that, and maybe you fail and you go back down a rung, but then you learn from that and you step back up again, and all of that builds, I think, within you.
Well, you're doing a great job, and you're also a great role model for people who would like to be able to emulate you in the future.
That's
Thanks.
very kind of you. Thanks, Stu.